The principal value is, as everybody knows today, the diversity of ideas and the diversity of participation strengthens the decision-making process from several advantages. One advantage is you get better buy-in to the ultimate solution. Another advantage is that no one person knows everything. So by having more people involved in the process, you're able to get a better solution, and as well as you're able to get buy-in to the eventual solution that you have. I think everything stems from the person who is initiating the Shura and what type of Shura they're trying to initiate, whether it is one that's going to be open to the public, or one that's going to be a private Shura, or one that's going to be semi-private. Depending on how that individual, what level of broad participation they have in their mind, or what level of participation, they would have structured the initial set of questions to help lead the individual participants down a certain path. So a lot of it has to do with the upfront thinking that the initiator puts into the process. The other thing is that you want to have the ability to provide evidence that supports any particular view. So if you have a tool that allows people to add documents or add additional presentations that might help support their particular point of view, that can be helpful. Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the whole issue of buy-in. By people being able to provide the evidence that supports their point of view, then the quality of the particular course of action is going to be higher because they've bought into the process. So when you have a Shura and you allow people to say, okay, here's my evidence to support my particular view, they're able to look at other people's evidence to broaden their understanding of the issues related to the Shura, and that just strengthens the eventual course of action that you choose. Well, one of the contexts is the getting ideas from former participants who have participated in the initiative in prior circumstances, and seeing what they felt about how the opportunity, how the initiative created opportunity for them. So we have several students who've gone through the program in previous years. They're currently out in the workforce. They're able to give feedback about exactly how beneficial this whole thing was. Obviously, the initiative helped them get a job, and many of them are still working with the companies which they originally got the jobs for. And so they're able to see whether or not this process is different than the typical, you go out and try to find an internship, and then as a result of the internship, you may or may not get a job offer. But in this case, the initiative was directly related to the final job offer that they had once they left UMES. So I think the Shura allows us to get commentary from those students related to what they felt about the program. Well, with any nonprofit, one of the issues that always comes up is a lack of resources that you have to do any particular type of initiative. So all of the monies are being raised locally in order to make this process work. So initially we got information from architectural firms. As a matter of fact, we actually talked to the architect for the university, and the fee amounts that were coming back to do the scope of the project to get the initial first phase done was something like $150,000. So for us, that was a pretty much of a challenge. How are we going to get $150,000? And a lot of organizations, some of the other funding places that might help you with the actual building of the masjid, are not going to help you with this phase. So we had to look at ways to reduce that cost. And so that means we were trying to look at piecing things together. So one of the brothers knew an architect down in Florida. So he contacted the architect down in Florida, who was able to give us a very reasonable price for the work that he was doing, but the problem was he's not licensed in the state of Maryland. So given that he wasn't licensed in the state of Maryland, then we had to figure out, well, how can we get a local person that was licensed in the state that would be able to get us through the permitting process. So we had to kind of mix and match. The civil engineer was a different person. The architect was an architectural firm that we needed was a different person. So we had a variety of options that we had to look at, and we wanted to get the input from all of the people in the community as to which approach was best. At least from the board standpoint, we have 10 people on our board, so we created a Shura that allowed us to put all of the documentation related to the different alternatives into the system. Each one of the board members could then review that and then come up with their own assessment. Now, one of the advantages is that if we use the soil properly, when we actually had our physical meetings, they would be more productive, because the people would have had an opportunity to review all of the data online, come up with their own particular point of view, and then during our meetings, we would be able to have more productive meetings. The benefits of having this tool is that it reduces the personality impact, because in some ways their impact becomes anonymous. Even though you know who made the statement, you're not sitting in front of the person. One of the challenges with any live meeting is that you have people that try to dominate the conversation, or you'll have people that will automatically yield to the expert and they won't express their point of view. So one of the advantages of this particular tool is it facilitates having everybody express their point of view without feeling like they were going to be put down or they have to yield to the authority, because it's a tool that you just put in your information, you express your own point of view, and then you get a chance to review it afterwards. So it kind of takes out that